Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Free to Be. I am your host, Jazzy P, and I am so excited that we made it this far. Here we are. I started this podcast about 16 weeks ago, honestly, in an effort to practice my discipline to really flex and strengthen my discipline muscle. And as it turns out, I am actually incredibly disciplined, especially when I put my mind to something. For example, I have a streak on Duolingo. I am at like 2 years, 2 plus years, 746 days. Now, of course, I use my streak freezes. That's beside the point. But I have a 700 plus streak on Duolingo. That's dedication. I have done this podcast for 16 weeks. I did miss about 3 weeks. But I've done this for 16 weeks, even 13 weeks. That's good. That's dedication. I've made my bed just about every morning for the past 4 years. That's dedication. When there's something that I really want to do and something that I really want to put my mind to, something I really put my mind to, I'm incredibly dedicated. So I really need to reframe and rethink the way I talk to myself when it comes to dedication because I'm dedicated, I'm committed, and I'm focused when it's something that's meaningful to me. I was thinking about my Duolingo streak, and I'm thinking there have been times when I have been in an altered state of reality, and I'm thinking I have got to do my Duolingo. Just a couple weekends ago, I was in an altered state thinking I gotta do my Duolingo. And I think we were in a Uber or something, and I was doing my Duolingo. I had enough mind, I had enough sense, not just to think about my Duolingo streak, but to complete the exercise effectively so that I could continue and advance my streak. Like, that's dedication right there. That's commitment. But as y'all know, I love to start most of my episodes with a segment called Well, That Was Random. And on today's Well, That Was Random, I want to talk about people parking, especially those people that park on the line or maybe halfway into the street or block the sidewalk or just whatever. Just park so inconsiderately and then they don't correct their parking when they've gotten out of the car and notice that they've parked super stupidly. Like, why are you on the line? Why are you impeding traffic? Why are you impeding pedestrian traffic and you don't care? Why don't you care? Most of all, why don't you care? And maybe I just care about stuff that doesn't matter. But that is so annoying to me when people park over the line. And that's really what I'm talking about. That parking faux pas is what irks me, irritates me more than anything. And now I have a compact car. So I'm not necessarily affected because if it's one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pull into that parking space regardless. You can be over the line. As long as it's not going to put me over the other line, I am going to park right next to you. I'm sure my car has been dented and dinged up. At this point, it's the principality. I do not care. I am going to park next to you if you are over the line. And I hope it makes it difficult for you to get in the car. Because why are you parking over the line? That's so dumb. It's so inconsiderate. It'll take 2 minutes to back up and straighten up. That is so annoying, so frustrating. And first of all, and lastly, it's inconsiderate. Can we have a little more consideration and a little more compassion? That's another thing I'm dedicated to. I'm dedicated to being more gracious, more grateful, more compassionate, and more, yeah, those gracious, grateful, and compassionate. Because the change really does start from within, as cliche as it is and as annoying and frustrating as it may be sometimes. Change really does start within. So I really want to extend that to those that I come into contact with. Because if not me, then who? But on this season finale of Free to Be, yes, it's the season finale. I don't really want to take a break, but I feel like I need to take a break. But I also feel like I don't have the luxury to take a break because I have some really good momentum going right now. But it's important for me to take a break to refocus and realign my goals. I have been in contact with some people for future episodes, some future hosting opportunities, and I really want this podcast to be of quality, and that's going to come with some growing pains, of course, but I really want this to be of quality, so I think it's necessary for me to take a break. I will return. I plan to return in March. I need about a solid 6 weeks, give or take, but like a solid 6 weeks to really revamp, not even revamp, but to refocus, realign, and to really up the production quality of this podcast. Because not only is this podcast an avenue and a vessel really for me to practice discipline, it's also something that I really want to be proud of, something that I will add to future resumes or future portfolios or whatever the case may be. I want everything that I do to be intentional, to be purposeful, and to be of quality, this podcast included. So this is the season finale, but that does not mean that I won't be creating. I will be on my Patreon creating. I am going to do Tubi movie reviews, because if it's one thing that I love, it's a black low budget film. And I loved me some black low budget films even before it was cool, before it was hype, before it was a thing. I honestly, Tubi is like heaven. When Tubi really started focusing in on black low budget films and just like indie films, but specifically black indie low budget films, I was like, yes, this is it right here. This is my genre. In Tubi movies are my favorite genre. I love watching them, and I think it's funny, it's like humorous, even stuff that's not supposed to be funny, but it's also like really inspirational. Somebody took what they had, a couple somebodies took what they had and their resources, and they produced something, they made something out of nothing or from very little. And maybe that's really why I'm drawn to it. But I also love the corniness and the cheesiness that comes along with it. But Tubi, I love. And so over on Patreon, patreon.com/free2be we will be doing some movie nights, and we will be doing some Tubi movie reviews. I can't wait. Y'all don't want to miss it. It's going to be a good time. So head on over. It's only $3, $5, or $9 a month. That's nothing to a baller like you. So come on over and hang out with me on Patreon. I was watching the Grammys last night, and I am an award show enjoyer. I wouldn't really say I love award shows. I don't always seek them out. But last night, I really wanted to watch the Grammys. And I'm not sure why, but I had a party in quotes, and I sat down and had like a watch party essentially. That's what it was. It was a watch party. And I don't know why I wanted to watch the Grammys, and my husband was like, who are you going for? Like, why do you want to watch the Grammys? And I'm like, I'm not really that sure, but obviously I'm going to root for everybody black. But more than that, I think I know I'm in this season where entrepreneurs, creative entrepreneurs, I want to be in a space around successful creative entrepreneurs. And that is what the Grammys are. That's kind of what it represents. And for some people, that is the ultimate validation. And at least in one area, right? Because you also have like the Tonys and the Emmys and all of that. But for this group of artists and creatives, the Grammys are extreme validation. And it's proof for some, and in some ways, that what you are doing is not in vain and is being recognized by people beyond maybe your target audience. It's a validation. It's validating. And I think I needed that push, because this is the space that I want to be in. I want to be in the creative space. I'm in the creative space, but I want to see success. And I think, I'm saying I think a lot, but I know. I know that I need to define what success looks like for me in this space. And one point is that I want to be able to live comfortably off of my creative dollars. I want my creativity and my entrepreneurship to sustain my life, my family's life in a comfortable way. So I want to be able to eat off of my ideas, essentially. But what else does that look like? When you are defining success and when you're defining goals, what factors do you consider? I'm really wondering, and I really hope you share. And I know that my goal is personal to me, but I'm also in a space where community is more valuable to me than ever. So I really want that input and that feedback. What does success look like for you? What do you consider and how do you define success? And does it look differently in different areas and different avenues and different aspects of your life? I'm curious to know. But anyway, back to the Grammys. And so Victoria Monet, she wins Best New Artist. Yay! And honestly, I couldn't decide between Victoria Monet and Coco Jones because ICU had me in the ICU, child. Had me in a choke hold. You hear me? But I'm really, really happy for Victoria Monet. And then her acceptance speech was the reason that I watched the Grammys. And I didn't know it then, but I know it now. She was talking about how now me getting emotional. She was talking about how she put in this work for years behind the scenes and felt unseen and maybe undervalued or underappreciated. Those weren't her exact words, but this is what I took from the speech. Undervalued, underappreciated, behind the scenes, going hard for so many other people. And it took several years of dedication, persistence, sharpening her skill set, networking, just never ever giving up. And finally, at her big age, quote unquote, her big age, she is finally seeing the rewards for the work that she's putting in. And it was one, a reminder, and it was two, it was motivation. If you have something in you, something that you want to do, something that you want to be, it may not happen as quickly as you wanted to. And in that creative space, it probably will take way longer than you anticipate. You think it's gonna take 5 years, it might take 10. You think it's gonna take 10 years, it might take 20. But if it really, really matters to you, then you will keep going. You'll keep going no matter what. And that is also something that Tabitha Brown shared. She said she broke down the difference between a dream and a goal. And she said a goal is something that you create, it's something that you have on your vision board, it's something that you write down in your journal. And I'm paraphrasing here. A goal is something that comes from outside, but a dream is divinely planted. A dream is from God. And even if you don't believe in God, a dream is something that nags at you, something that pulls at you, something that tugs at you. Even if you try to bury it, it's not really buried, it's planted. And that's how I feel about creation and creating. I have been creating in many different genres, many different facets for as long as I can remember. And creating, being in a creative space is where I find the most comfort, the most security, the most joy. I love dancing. I love singing. I played the saxophone for 37 minutes in middle school. Actually, that was elementary school, but I loved it, right? Photography, podcasting, videography, I write poetry, I'm acting. Like, I love creating. I love creative expression. I love creative problem solving. Escape rooms are my favorite pastime. Like, I love using my mind and I love creating and I love sharing my creativity with the world. But even if I'm not creating, it feels good. It feels safe. It feels secure to me. And I want to do that. And I'm always trying to figure out, okay, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do with my life? And this is probably about to turn into some inner inner dialogue, and less of a podcast episode and more of inner dialogue. But I'm always thinking, like, what do I want to do with my life? What do I want to do Do I want to go back into teaching? Do I want to do digital marketing specifically? Do I want to do social media? Okay, I need to figure out a plan. I need to find something that I'm passionate about, right? But every time, every time I try to disregard creating and my creativeness, my creativity, I'm pulled back in like, no, this is what you want to do. And it's hard for me, I guess, to really walk in that because let's be real, the bills got to be paid and the babies still got to eat. Every time I turn around, his school wants something. Fundraiser this, book fair that. So what I'm doing now is really a means to an end. If I'm not creating, it's really just something I'm doing to take up space. And maybe I shouldn't say this out loud, but I'm going to say it anyway. I have been in job interviews recently, and when they ask, why are you a good fit for this job? Why do you want this job? Why do you want this position? I feel a little bit of me die, a little bit of my soul just like ripping. And then I'm lying. I'm straight up lying, saying, oh, I'm passionate about this. I would make the greatest candidate. I am the greatest candidate because I'm passionate about this. And I mean, am I really passionate though? Or am I tricking myself into being passionate about it? I am enthused in this moment and I'm enthused in this interview because I need a job. But I'm passionate about creating. I'm passionate about being an artist. I'm passionate about sharing my creativity with the world. That's what I'm passionate about. Passionate about. That's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. So I need to focus and hone in on that. And so again, about this whole goal versus dream thing, right? So recently, like past couple months, trying to figure out where life is going, right? Trying to figure out which direction we're headed as a family, trying to figure out life, right? We're just kind of at a crossroads as you will approach as if you're blessed and continue to live. And right now I'm trying to figure out if this on my spirit is a dream or a goal. But I have been given a destination, like a physical location destination, and I'm being told that this is where you need to go. This is where you need to be. If you are as dedicated and as passionate as you say you are, this is where you need to go. You need to uproot your entire family and go here. And I'm trying to figure out if that's a goal or if that's a dream. And what's the timeline? Like, what's the timeline, Lord? If this is from you, what's the timeline? Because I'm getting settled into a 9 to 5 here. Don't want to be. Ain't nothing like a good old 9 to 5 to make you work your ass off for your dreams. Ain't nothing like being told what to do and being quote unquote forced to do something that you don't want to do to motivate you to do what you really do want to do. So I'm like, God, if this is from you, please show me the signs and help me create this plan so I can carry out this dream that you have planted. If it is from you, let me know where to go from here. Whew. I'm gonna cut it off here because I feel like I'm pouring my whole soul and my whole being right here onto this microphone. But I really do appreciate you for listening, and I hope that I have shared something and said something, restated something that you needed to hear. I hope that you remain dedicated and consistent, gracious, grateful, and consistent on your journey wherever that leads you. I hope that you find your purpose or you uncover and rediscover your purpose if you are wondering and wandering. I hope that it is revealed to you in a timely fashion, and I hope that it is clear. I hope that it is revealed, presented, or reintroduced clear as day with no confusion. Again, I am Jazzy P. Thank you so much for listening, tuning in to the finale, the season finale. Come on, y'all. Y'all know it ain't a series finale. The season finale of the Free to Be podcast. Until next time, peace.